come down this far. Come up here, this one.
Building behind me, this is the sheep barn. Now, this building, when the Job Corps came up here in the 1960s, it was in really bad shape. So bad shape they couldn't really even use it much. They couldn't reuse much of the wood. It may have saved a few boards and put them in, but most part this has been reconstructed. The foundation is original, and it does look like it did. And when the Hensleys were up and Gibbons were up here, but this is where the sheep were brought. But only really, if they were up here, there were three reasons. They're being sheared, they're sick, or maybe the females are giving birth. That's the only reason why they're in here. So they would bring them here to shear, and this is something that the women in the community pretty much handled. Nancy Gibbons and Nancy Ann Hensley, they pretty much led the charge on this. They helped take care of the shearing. They would then shear the sheep, take the wool, and then sell it. They could just bring it down the valley and sell it at any given time. Perhaps they would sell it for trade day, which I'll get back to in a moment. But the wool ended up in the local community, but it also ended up further away. For example, some of this wool ends up in the inventories at the Biltmore estate over in Nashville, which I think is pretty cool. And kind of must have been pretty good quality wool to end up in the Vanderbilt's hands. So the sheep was a major source of wool was a major source of income for the people up here. There's a second source of income after the corn. And as I said, they might go down during trade day to trade the wool. Now trade day is something that happened once a month, once in Kentucky, once in Virginia. For the men here in the mountain, they usually only go off twice a month, mostly for trade day. The women maybe once a month, the children pretty rarely. If they went down for trade day, maybe they're trading stuff like maybe wool, maybe molasses, make some extra money, or maybe corn and other things we'll get to a little later. But a lot of times what they're doing is really think about it. If you're working all the time up here, you want a break, you want like a vacation. This is kind of a way to get away from other men in the community. That's the main thing trade day really was. And they go down there, maybe they hang out, play cards with people, chill, But also they sometimes would trade things, and sometimes they would just trade things for like minor trades. For example, one gentleman up here, he decided to trade his pocket knife, and he went down and traded, kept making trades. Finally, when he came back with a mule. Pretty good trader, that trade there. He did a pretty good job. Another gentleman up here, he decided he wanted to trade one of his mules. So he went down and traded his mule, and traded for something else, and traded for something else. And he came back with the same mule. But he came back with a mule. Could have been worse, I guess. Came back, didn't lose anything. People go down and trade for all kinds of things. Sometimes people would come back. One guy came back with a radio. And he must have been a very popular person up here on the settlement. There's only radio up here. People would go to his house for listen to Grand Ole Opry. I imagine maybe people would listen to the World Series, maybe FDR's Fireside Chats. Probably a popular place around here. As I said, there's only radio up here. Not a lot of other things to do sometimes. So radio would be a popular thing.
So they have to go back down there once a week just to get batteries, right?
I don't know how long for the batteries. And you buy a bunch of them too. And there's another way you can get batteries. So here's the thing. Not just trade day. So I want you to think about this. Let's say there are things like batteries, things that you can't make up here, or like salt. Salt's challenging. You can't really make salt up here. So if you want something like that, where would you go? What? Mercantile, yeah. It's a traveling store. There was a guy that traveled around the bottom of the mountain, and you would know exactly where he was on any given time of the day. So you go there and meet him and say
And he actually came up here too?
He didn't come up here. He's come down. You have to go down there and check Channel Gap, mate. And there's places in Kentucky that it might have been different guys too. I just know there were different traveling stores that came around in the local communities down below. And you would go down there and meet him, and then you would trade for, maybe usually be bartering. He'd take cash if he had it, but maybe he'd take some eggs for salt. I don't know what he would take for batteries. Maybe more than it's eggs, I'm sure. But yeah, he would trade a lot of things you cannot get up here. I mean, and because you don't want to wait for trade day, so that traveling store was a very important thing. So I mean, again, people thinking this is an isolated community. Another example of that you're not really that isolated. You're not that really far from civilization. Any questions? Now you may be wondering how we maintain these buildings. Well, I'm going to talk a lot more about that at the blacksmith shop, and I also want to talk a little bit about, I'm going to get a little about Willie Gibbons, who was the tinkerer of the community. And that's also the first building we're going to be able to go into.
I'm a lot risk, you know.
You can have a slaughterhouse up here.
Time you got it mowed, you can go back and mow it again.
Oh, yeah, they hung the smokehouse security.
I didn't know it was this big up
A
here.
little bit about hogs and what a hog is.
Okay, yeah, I ain't getting real game again. I'm sorry.
You're fine. Nothing wrong with that. That's good. I understand.
You ever heard of a
I wonder if that was a pond over there. I wonder.
I never heard of that.
I said it wasn't.
Huh?
I said they didn't have one.
Kind of a yellow spotty apple, but it never would get much size. But you bite into that thing, it takes the rock off the mountain.
Okay.
Believe it or not. And I never did get sprouts from it or nothing. Never did get a draft or anything. I wish I had it.
Apple tree. I don't know if that's original as well. I wonder.
Mm-hmm.
It's got plenty of apples. Huh?
Might not see.
Yeah. I like to live up there, wouldn't you?
It's cold.
You got to chop you some wood first thing.
I need this at the house.
Little rock wall. That's like original.
Watch your spider. Committed murder up here.
What?
I just committed murder.
What'd you do?
That spider, I didn't
Oh.
know the women get it on.
Oh, okay.
Women, you're scared of spiders than I.
Pretty much.
This is Willie Gibbons Blacksmith shop. So I was talking about maintaining these buildings. Hate to break it to everybody, the National Park Service, we do not have unlimited amount of money to fix buildings up. I wish we had plenty more money. So a lot of times, when we can't, to maintain a lot of these buildings, we have to find help, and generally volunteers. Luckily for us, we have a community not far away of Amish. It's in southern Indiana, and they've been coming here for the last about 7 years, and they will help fix up these buildings. So they're using a lot of 19th century, early 20th century, more techniques that keep them more accurate if you want. And they're great at doing shingles. They fixed up this building. The blacksmith shop originally was almost like 2 years ago. It's about ready to fall over. It was in such bad shape. So they repaired it. They put more new shingles on it. Fixed the roof for us. And actually, we are able to go in. Now, the reason why they come here is because for the Amish, they can't they're pacifists, so they don't fight in wars. They won't, they don't do the draft. So instead, what they will do is they volunteer their time to the government, and they've chosen to volunteer their time to us, these people. We appreciate all the work they've done here, and we'll be able to keep these buildings up and down. Now, blacksmith shop. So this is where Willie Gibbons worked. As I say, he was kind of the tinker of the community. He pretty much can make just about anything. I mean, though he's probably really mostly making like nails, maybe a few tools here and there. He also sadly someone had to do it. He had to make the coffins for the community. So it's another thing he's doing here, okay, every now and then. But a lot of times, probably what he's mostly doing is just fixing things. People would come with him and say, I need this repaired, and he'd be more than happy to do it. And now we're able to go in. I will take a look in there. I want to make sure there's not a snake hiding out. In a wet day like this, you never know. We've also had some issues with wasps in here. I didn't see any last time I was in there though. I don't see any snakes. So we're good. Usually it's black snakes that come in here more than anything else. So you come on in.
I don't mind a black snake too, man.
No.
Yeah, I thought that would have
Go ahead if you want to. I'm going to take some pictures here in a minute.
We do have copperheads in the area. If you want, you can come on in. And check out some of those. I can. If you have questions about some, I know some of these. I don't. There's a few I don't really know what their purpose is. The forge is in here. We've got a small little forge. This is like for woodworking.
Yep.
A ladle. Sand horse over here. Smooth any wood. So he's doing a lot of woodworking here, really. I said the coffins, probably fixing up chairs. In here, maybe he's making nails or fixing tools.
So it took two people to turn them.
Yes. So his assistant would be his kids.
I'm telling you. Okay, ladies. Come on
Get
in.
in, you can. I mean,
There ain't nothing in here.
nothing in here.
Wash for nest if they're asleep.
Yeah.
Oh, is there a
Yeah.
wasp up there?
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 nests right there.
I think they've already been sprayed. They were. This is something that was reported, and I think we sprayed all that.
You can kind of smell the spray.
Yeah, I don't know what they use. Something that's not going to hurt
Little-
other animals.
he's got his hand on that.
There's certain
What
kinds of
was in here?
pesticides. That's the forge. Is there still a nest up there?
Yeah.
Oh, there's one crawling around on it.
We'll kill them. They'll still come back. We'll try at least.
You gotta get rid of the nest.
Yeah.
Because even if you use like the Spectricide wasp spray on it,
Yeah.
they'll still come back and re-inhabit the nest.
I just haven't been able to get up there.
Hornet's nest been there. It takes skill to do that.
Late work.
This snake.
I mean,
They
to
took a
get-
kid over
A
there.
lot of hard work went on.
Yeah, it's one of his sons when doing that job.
I'm telling you.
While he's working right there on the wood, his son would be spinning the wheel.
Now, what was this used for?
What can you
Hang
point to?
stuff
It's, you mean this?
Hat rack.
I don't know. Maybe
Hang his
just
ropes
hanging,
and
maybe
stuff.
something to hang something on. It looks like, I think.
What about this?
Again, probably just to hang something. I mean, I don't think there's anything.
Well, the wooden piece is probably like a shim that they were using over here. On the
Okay,
page.
yeah. I was
Maybe
thinking
they
nail.
locked the door. Yeah,
Maybe.
And this was?
So that is something they would use to sort out. They would
Pan for goat.
Not pan, no. It's
Sip.
sip, yeah. I'm trying to think of the right word for it. That's something that they would do to make, help with in the process of, the war term for it. But they would use it to they put enough clay in there and get some of it out, and it evolves into the forge. I know that.
I'm sure they had some of these around too, just to fix the harmony
Yep.
from the corn.
Yep.
Well, they're probably looking for minerals.
You know what the
They
Cherokees?
could have done that, but a lot of it was using for.
Yeah.
Someone told me once like last year, and I've completely forgot because no one's asked me since, so I forgot completely what it was.
You know what the
it has a
Cherokees-
purpose. What?
Used to get the husk
Yeah.
off the corn.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know or
Sure.
do know?
I don't know off the top of my head.
They take either hickory or oak, mainly oak because
Yeah.
it had more acid. The ashes, they burn it and get the ashes, and they
Yeah.
put it inside the sock, and then put it inside another sock and put it in with it. I tried it one time. It only took half the husk off one side.
Takes a while, probably.
Yeah, but it'll work. I study up on a lot of stuff. I don't mean to act like I know it all.
Oh, you're fine.
I just like anything like that about history. I love reading, learning from.
A little further down here.
Ain't no service up there, then.
Seriously?
It looks a little bit like Spanish moss, but I know it ain't. Do you know what that's called?
It's not Spanish moss. It's
Spanish
some type of.
moss.
It's some type of moss. It is a type of moss, but I just don't know what kind.
It's made about
Well, you
six.
can come down here if you like. It's careful and watch your step because you like holes around here. I'm not. Might be going to trip on for snakes.
Nothing. I'll stack those rocks up. Started hard for fixing the fish pond.
Very important building up here for the people living here. Yeah. Clean water, although I don't know today. It's flowing better than it did last year. They did fix. Amish will fix this up to make it a little better, but I don't know if I would drink out of it. Maybe even with a filter, I'm not even entirely sure.
It
But
didn't steal.
yeah, it doesn't flow as well as we probably did.
Flowing a little, but
A
not.
little, but not great. But the other purpose for a spring house is what?
To keep your like milk cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Your water holder, or in a
Yeah.
container.
Early refrigerator.
Yeah, watermelon if you grow them.
Yeah, yeah. Keep anything cold in there you want it to. Pretty much. So pretty much every farm, every house here would have had a spring house. You would have built your house near a spring. That way you have a good source of water, but also keeping cold.
Boy, they lucked out with having a good spring here.
Yeah, there's several in the area. This is the only spring house that survived. So the rest of them I don't think made it.
I run off leaves again.
Now this building here is one that many children feared.
Woodshed.
Woodshed, yep, it's the woodshed.
Spankings.
Yep.
Apple trees.
Come here, apples or something. You don't usually see that anymore.
Yeah, those apples are looking, those there are looking, being pretty ripe.
Mm-hmm.
The bears love the apples. They will be all over here soon, if they're not already coming up here. besides the cemetery, this is the other sad story here in the settlement. So this is Willie Gibbons' house. So Willie, Nancy, and his family, they lived here entire time they were up here. And the house actually was in really good shape. If you came up here before 2000, you could went inside. It would have been, you know, it was in. I mean, obviously it was a house, not like it was like you see, not ruins like today. Looking at it's pretty big size house. So you're looking at on the right, this would have been more the living room, maybe a bedroom over there. On the back would have been the kitchen. Now in 2000, in the winter of 2000, we don't really know exactly what happened. We believe that a hiker got trapped in a storm, and they were looking for a place to stay warm, and they came into this house, and they tried to light the fireplace. And we only had to piece some of this together because we never found the person, and the house caught fire. And by the time we got up here, there was just nothing we could do. It was gone. This is why we lock the buildings today. Also, this is something to keep in mind when you go to places. We should be respecting places. We want to leave no trace. We don't want to, like, you know, this is why bad things sometimes happen because people are careless or reckless. This hiker probably shouldn't have been up here in the winter that day because of the snow. Definitely, you know, I mean, I know they were trying to stay warm, but what he did was, you know, destructive, and we lost this, and we can't replace it. So it's very sad. As you might have seen, you see a lot of the apple trees around here. That one over there on the right, that one it looks pretty big. They might even be about ready. The other one, they're getting close. They're not there yet. Also, they tried peaches and they tried pears. That didn't work. Peaches were okay. They did try grapes. You can see a little vineyard right over there. On the top. You think that's cabbage in here too?
Chicken house.
This grass is too high right now. I've been up there before, but the grass is so high, I don't go down there. So that's a chicken coop. Right behind the chicken coop, you can see a very important building that every family here would have had. The outhouse. And that is a two-seater. Two-seater. As you had to go.
I don't guess it matters sometimes.
Yeah. There's a little wall separating the two. I've not been in there. They're locked. They don't give us the key to those buildings. We don't let anyone get in there. Yeah, this is another thing. So, what'd you just say it was?
It's a corn mill.
Yep, corn crib. That's a corn crib. They still have the corn here. They tried, you know, grinding up the corn. They dammed up the creeks, but they couldn't get the water pressure good enough to really do it real well. And it didn't work out. So they had to bring the corn down to the miller, a miller in the valley below, and the miller would take his cut, and then they would take the rest. This corn was one of their biggest source of income. The corn meal, corn for the animals, food for themselves, and then at least a portion of it was going to be turned into something else. Whiskey, moonshine. Mm-hmm. So they were definitely moonshiners up here. Yeah, it's extra income, really. It's like I wanted that people think of moonshine in a very negative connotation, but for these people, it's just like extra money. I mean, that's the way they looked at it, way to survive. Some of this moonshine ended up in the local community. I mean, during Prohibition, it was being brought down to Middlesboro. Who's here familiar with Middlesboro? Middlesboro was supposed to be a much bigger town at one time. It was built to be the Pittsburgh of the South. That never worked out. Over time, it became kind of a seedy place. It was run by the Balls and the Turners, who were both notorious. And the Turners were local gangsters. And a lot of it would probably purchased the moonshine from up here. We don't have no records of this, so we don't really know. Probably went in their hands, and then they would sell it to other people, notably in Chicago, where most likely the alcohol. So it's like part of that whole, cycle of business. No records, because you don't keep records of these kind of things.
Okay, I got a question.
Yes.
Why is the roof made that way? I mean, even in Tate's Cove, we got one over one.
Style.
Keep it from leaking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're. I was great. Thank you.
But you know something, they'd have to figure out which way the rains come in most of the time to do it.
Probably they would probably design it based on on what they thought the rain would come in.
They just thought they snugged another board up again this side, and that would have helped them.
Yeah, that'll be more. This is one of the cooler buildings here in the settlement. Barn is mostly original. Go on in. I want you to look at the hinge. This here is something that Willie Gibbons designed himself. That's a unique feature of the barn. You can go in, check out, you can look into the stalls. You can go up into the loft, but only go up the ladder in the first step. Don't just peek into the loft. Don't go past that first step. That's a replica sled. It's not an original. That's what, some of the sleds, that's what they were using to get up here.
I don't think it
I have to say this because people have opened it. Do not open the corn, the planter there. There's at least 2 mouse nests in there. I've not seen a mouse come out of it, but I know they're there. So we don't want a furry friend visiting us.
Yeah, too bad I couldn't get the light to come on.
Come on in, explore it. A lot cooler, about 5, 10 degrees cooler up here.
Post in the bottom and it's got top.
That's very unique. That's still the original. We've not done anything to it.
That's a leather strap.
No, it's metal.
No, they probably made this in the blacksmith shop most likely.
Yeah.
What if the wagon's original?
That was a pretty expensive wagon in the back of the house.
Probably. It's not an original to the settlement. I think it's period. Pretty sure the sleds are from reproduction. I don't think that's. We see that sled from them. They rebate that behind, or they did. It fell apart. Yeah. Yep.
Runners,
Yeah. You were thinking.
We ain't see nothing.
more, well, just flatter, but I guess they would have to be thick and, to make it over the, roots and everything on the path.
Ways away, I'm just too dumb around. When it
Yeah,
comes to electronics,
technology.
I ain't no good.
Yeah, you have the younger generation thing.
It
I know some things.
It took a long time to plant the corn with a one row planter.
It sure did.
Probably had others. They might have bigger ones.
They may have dropped them by hand too.
That is from the time period.
But all they had was time.
Yeah.
There's your yellow bird.
Yep. So I want you to go around the side of the barn and look at this long piece
That's
of
probably the original one right there, probably.
very long log. That is all from the same
Yeah.
tree.
That was from the same tree?
That log might be, it's probably probably a chestnut,
Wow.
most likely.
See,
Never had it tested.
That's one more. That, oh,
We don't want to damage it. That's the original hay rake right here on the right. Or a original hay rake.
That's all right, you're fine.
Now we're gonna come over to this building. Anyone can guess what this is for?
hen house?
Pen out hog pen, yep, exactly.
That's where the man got hooked in digging.
Hope not. But this is the hogs have been put in during in the summer to fatten them up. And they had a very simple locking mechanism. They could put them in. Nothing too complicated. They would stay in here all over the summer until they're fat enough for Hog Day. Anyone know when Hog Day is?
First frost, is it?
First frost. It's typically around the first frost. Many people would do it during a holiday. Which holiday do you think they're doing Hog Day? We don't associate pigs with this holiday.
Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving. Yes, exactly. Thanksgiving. So instead of turkey, they had sausage for Thanksgiving. Hog Day was something that happened generally once a year. They would slaughter the hogs. They had smokehouses where they would keep them in. The children of this community, though, they loved Hog Day because they loved watching the adults open the hogs up and all the guts coming out. Yeah, I know. Gross does today. And actually, they would take an organ out of the hog and actually turn it into, use it as a ball. What do you think that was?
As a bladder.
The bladder, yep. Take the urine out, put it behind the fireplace, harden it up, and a ball.
Pig skin.
Yep, pigskin, yeah. Supposedly I heard that, if you've ever seen Little House on the Prairie, someone told me that an episode of Little House on the Prairie they did that. I forgot that episode, I guess.
The Indians used to take the bladder and dry them out and make things carry the water.
Yeah, I've heard that. I mean, make do what you have. Any questions before we move on? So we're gonna have to. I will stop. I'll always stop so we can. We got over here, but we can't go to Willie Gibbons' house, but we'll stop by to get some photos.
But still, it's no bruising or stuff.
Yeah. Someone could live up here.
It's a great place to get away from
Mm-hmm.
the world and stuff. Like a little mini vacation.
So, they couldn't grow big.
Well, his last house. So it's not.
Did you show your pigs?
He moved around a lot.
I did, and
Last one he was living in, it's still there.
we
But
actually raised them since I was about 4 weeks
It's not
old
easy
and
to get
taught them how to use the little box.
you know,
Oh,
everything's
okay.
still in form.
Our neighbor, we had a neighbor once when we had
Oh, the
hot
original
dog
one.
pig, and it escaped.
So I just kept, I put a bowl of water out for it.
when it come by.
See if we can figure out where that.
This is only about
that was.
that tall, big grown,
There's
those
probably-
teeny tiny.
Well, we probably got like 25 or 30 pounds. Oh, turtle.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Didn't expect to see that. Hang out.
It's just a bad year for growing them and these apples out small.
They don't really ripen up here until we get closer to September.
They need, actually need to be trimmed off. So it is.
Yeah, I don't know if we're really doing that. I mean, most of the others are doing
Took my allergy medicine.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I actually wonder if that's the original flowers. I wonder.
I don't know, yeah, some looking hard.
They go for years on them.
You see that?
What?
Where a bear scratched his nails.
Didn't even see that. Oh yeah.
See it right there?
Oh yeah, definitely. They come through here. We know that they mostly come through because of the apples. It's probably a little early for that. They're probably not really a lot. They're probably
See the
testing
bird
it out.
on
See if
me.
once they're right, they'll be all over them.
There was one up down below our house the other day. Was actually crossing the road.
Yeah. You've never. Maybe one big group, one full group on up here on Burning Field. It's still there. Mostly you see them on the drive up or drive down. They probably like that too. If they hear us, they're not going to be. They'll probably hear us talking. They're not going to be. Plus they're mowing.
You're not cold no more, eh?
They're not going to be around.
There's so many
You'd be surprised how
spots.
animals run. Like that. If I start watching video of that, they were. What's the bears they call them?
Schoolhouse. This is the one we went in.
You probably pulled that wrong.
Come on in.
Excuse us.
You can sit anywhere in here, just don't sit on that last one on the right there.
I wonder how they got that blackboard in there.
Talk about the blackboard in a second. Now the Hensleys and Gibbons, they believe that they wanted other kids educated. So something that not long after they moved up here, they asked Bell County to build a schoolhouse. And Bell County gave them two conditions. They had to build the schoolhouse, which they did, and also provide a room for the teacher. So some of the built like Lige Gibbons, we couldn't see it unfortunately, but Lige Gibbons' house has a room attached for the teacher, and others probably did as well. The teacher would come up here and they would live in with one of the families while they're teaching. They would be up here from June to December teaching, and so Stella Callahan was one of these teachers. She was up here for three years, and then she met a Hensley, fell in love, and married him. And she's no longer the teacher. But there are other teachers here, a few men and some women, so it varied. Now, this is not the original schoolhouse. The original schoolhouse, unfortunately, it fell apart. It wasn't savable, so they just rebuilt the building. But they did save one thing from the schoolhouse. What do you think it was?
Chalkboard.
The chalkboard. Good job. People guess the stove all the time. But you guessed the chalkboard. Good job. Yes, the chalkboard's original. So I want you to imagine the kids going up there learning their ABCs on that chalkboard. I think that's cooler than the stove.
Yeah.
The stove is the stove, but the chalkboard, like all the memories are written on that thing. So.
Dust and erasers was a lot of my memories.
You're a bad boy.
Well, imagine that happened up here too.
Yeah.
So this schoolhouse was pretty much 1st to 8th grade. After 8th grade, you'd have to go somewhere else if you wanted more education. Now, so this was also not only just a schoolhouse. This was a community center. This was used as a church. Services would have been held in the schoolhouse. So used for a lot of multiple purposes. But towards the middle of the 1940s, though, things changed here. So to give you an idea, in 1945, there were 13 kids up here. A year later, there were about 6 or 7. 1947, there were 3 kids left in the schoolhouse. At that point, Bell County is like, we're not going to pay for school for 3 kids. Just not going to happen. So as you can see, something has happened by 1947. And a year later, pretty much everybody is left but Sherman. And in the cemetery, I'll talk a little more about what happened to the community. Now, Sherman, he didn't want to leave. He stayed up here all the way in 1951. This is a photo of him when he probably around 1950s, early 1950s. It says he dwells in loneliness. His kids had to convince him that it was best if he didn't stay up here. They talked him into coming down to the mountain.
So no wife known about it.
His wife had died by then. His wife died in 1937. I'll double check that.
Can I get a picture?
Yeah, of course. Is Sherman your descendant or your ancestor or?
He is supposedly my second cousin.
Oh, okay. Now, the other picture I'll show you is the Willie Gibbons house.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it looked like before it burned down.
Wow.
That was a pretty place.
It was very pretty. It was a big house too. It probably was one of the big ones we had at the time.
Did they make that guy pay for it?
And never found him. We don't know if it was a man, probably a man. We don't know what happened. We don't know who he was or they were.
Huh. They run off, did they?
They did, yeah. I mean, either they were embarrassed or hard to say.
They want to get shot.
They want to get shot. They want to get arrested. I don't know. A lot of possibilities.
And I hope he's made it right with the Lord and
Yeah.
remembered what he did.
Hope so. Hopefully.
So you said the teacher was up here from June to December?
Yeah.
So wouldn't have that put her here during harvest?
And I wondered about that. I don't know how that works. But maybe they took like fall breaks or something during harvest time. But she would have been up here during that. Planting season, I think, is even a bigger time when the kids.
Yeah. Because she wouldn't have been here during the planting season.
No. But they had to nothing they could do. They had to have school sometime.
Yeah.
As I said, maybe they did like fall breaks. And gave kids time off to help with the farm.
Well, what about during the harvest season? They
That's what he
need
was
the
saying.
kids to help them.
That's what she was saying. Yeah, probably. As I said, they probably had maybe they had fall breaks.
Harvest
Yeah,
and
yeah.
planting both.
Yeah, And the kids may have some time off for that, for school. Maybe they took a week off, like instead of a spring break, they had a fall break.
You know, the Amish only go to the 8th grade too.
The older kids are gonna help them.
See it?
Friday season, they went.
What is it?
Outhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard time for it.
Yep. So next, we're gonna head down to Henley's cabin over here.
But they was happier though, I bet you. They
Yeah.
didn't have all the stress we have
Less
today.
stress. We got hikers up here.
I feel sorry for him hiking up that hill. Look over here, Tina.
So they hiked up that little gap.
Tina.
It's likely.
Oh, the outhouse. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
And another one. We're gonna head over here.
That's the one we're going to.
No.
Oh, the outhouse?
Yeah.
They're going to the cabin down here.
That's what I thought he was talking about, that through yonder.
Yeah.
I didn't see the outhouse.
Yeah, we're not going to the outhouse. We're not doing the outhouse tour.
They keep that locked too?
Yeah, we got to get in here.
Alright.
Someone might use the bathroom in there, but I'm afraid. If we did. I don't think I have a key to it. I don't think they went unlocked. So, I want to give a little bit of warning. I mean, hard to say, but I want to make sure everybody knows this is a little more difficult. With more coming back. You got to go downhill a little bit. So if you don't think you can do it or don't want to do it, you can wait up here for us. That's fine. One of the picnic shelters, picnic tables, excuse me. But if not, you can head on down.
He said we'll be stopping now on the way back. I guess. He said we would stop.
I don't know if they hiked all the way up there. I wonder. It ain't been too bad for a while, cause
I don't know if your dad could do it though.
yours too. I'd imagine there's another outhouse. Or is that the same one?
That's one that's still. There's two or three.
I'd say all this here was clear, wasn't it? Maybe.
It's a pretty decent sized house. definitely a lot of good. There's another cabin I'll get you in, but this is Hensley, Gibbons cabin. And the building, the joists all the floorboards, they've rotted, so that it's not safe to even go on the porch. So we have to stay away from the house until we can get it prepared. That's off the limits for the moment. But this tree right here is the reason why I stopped here. Anyone know what tree this is? Anyone familiar with this tree? Not oak. Sourwood. Anyone familiar with sourwood tree? Sourwood, honey, bees like it's a little honey is very popular around here. But really, what's good about sourwood is the wood itself. It's very flexible. I want you to think about it. We drove up this road. Rough today. But imagine driving up, riding up in a wagon in 1903. How difficult do you think that would be? Yeah, hard. It would be very hard. You're not going to use wheels because the wheels probably would bust coming up these roads. So instead, what they did is they used sleds, and they used the sourwood because they're flexible, as part of the sled. So sled, I don't mean like riding in a sleigh. This is something that would be pulled by. And guess what's pulling the sleds? Oxen, not horse. Oxen could, but the oxen's pretty expensive, and horse is a gentleman's animal.
Bison?
Mules. He said bison. Bison were gone pretty much by then. They wouldn't be able to do it, but mules.
Yeah.
Mules are a great working animal. People say that mules are smarter than horses, so they're better at doing this type of work.
Festus thought so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So there were 3 ways up here that they could come. So we just came one of the ways. That goes into Shady Creek Road was always there. Very different before though. I mean, it's been graded, changed, and altered. So I don't think it looks the same or anything. But that was a way up here from Kentucky. Another way up here from Kentucky, it was Brownie Creek Road. That's a little further down.
That's where we went.
Is that where you ended up? Yeah, you didn't want to. If you try to continue on that road, your car might have. You got stuck for sure.
But that's why we turned around.
Good you did. Good you did. You don't want to go that way. The road's in bad shape. I think ATVs can get down that road now, but not cars.
Hensley Settlement. Turn here.
Yeah.
So
Was there a sign there,
No,
or
no.
the GPS?
Yes, there
the GPS
was.
just sending.
GPS just
GPS
crazy.
sensing up there.
It had that little sign.
I wish they wouldn't even. I wish that people wouldn't let you go up. Yeah, I wonder if anybody ever tried going up there in a car and got stuck. It would have shocked me.
Well, we did get stuck, but we tried.
I'm glad you did it. I'm glad you did it. So yeah, Brownie Creek. That was a much better road back in the day. Not now. So that was another way down into Kentucky. The other way up here was the Chadwell Gap to the south.
That's the way we hiked up here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it was
where you
rough.
hike up. So it's very steep, isn't
Yes.
it? It's the steepest.
Is
it's
that
the
the one,
steepest hike.
y'all?
Yeah, we came in
Yeah,
from
it's
Virginia over there.
Apples down there on that.
Oh yeah, a lot of apple trees. But yeah, that's the steepest hike in the park.
Yeah.
So that goes into Virginia. And that was a main way up here for a lot of people. There used to be a coal company down here, so some people lived up here and worked down there. There are people that lived in Kentucky, and they would hike over the mountain to work, which, what a commute that must have been. Sometimes those people would stay here on weekends and would stay with various Hensleys, and maybe they new people up here,
Right.
and that was something that was very common. That's why this place, people sometimes will think that this place was very isolated, and it wasn't. This was not an isolated community. People came through all the time. Sometimes people were coming through this way for work. The Hensleys and Gibbons were known to have apple stir-offs, so that was something they did a lot of, apple cider stir-offs. That was a very common thing up here, molasses stir-offs. So there was a lot of things happening up here, a lot of festivals. So that's something to think about. Think about how these people would meet for marriage, you know. You don't really, I know Sherman and ICN did it, but marrying your cousin, that's not something you want to do. So, you know, for someone meeting someone, these festivals were an opportunity, you know, because there'd be people coming from other places. And that's generally how they would, you know, meet, you know, a husband and wife.
So that's how that it came to be other names besides Hensley up here.
Part of that is the reason, yeah. And that's also, this is a little bit of a tease, but this is one of the reasons why people are starting to leave. And I'll get into that later. You know, people might come up here, they want to stay up here. That's a whole nother story. And you'll talk about that later. So this is not an isolated place. Also, it'd be maybe various preachers come up here, and maybe people will come up here and follow their favorite preacher. That happens too from time to time.
Well,
So,
it's beautiful up here.
it is very beautiful up here, yeah, no question. You can see how people came up here. Any questions? We'll go a little further up, and I'm going to talk about what they grew up.
We have got a chill too.
Are those yellow delicious now?
I'm not sure about those. We'll come by these over here.
We get a sample.
You take one. I don't know if they're right though yet. You want to try one, but it may not be ready.
You know, I had to spray mine before we left yesterday. One little tree I have.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get it started up it started black.
Okay.
And it's got a white fungus on it. And it said that high humidity and partly shade would cause that. But ours was out in the middle of the sun. So, but anyway, I still got it anyway, so I had to spray it.
Anyone know what this this thing here behind me is?
Right.
Hey, Ray. Yep, exactly. Not an original. We do have an original one over by the barn. I'll point out when we get there. Now, so they came up here for their farmland, and of course, I mean, one of their main, you know, sources of income is going to be what they're growing up here. And what do you think they're growing? What you grow? Any guesses? Corn. Corn's the number one crop up here. No question. That's their number one source of income. Tobacco as well for personal use. Other than those two, any other guesses? Hay. Yep. Hay. Potatoes. They grow potatoes up here.
Soybeans?
Probably molasses.
Soybeans, not so much. What'd you say, sir?
I probably molasses probably.
Molasses, sorghum, yes. That's another big source of income for the people living up here.
Green beans.
Green beans, yeah, a lot of garden vegetables you would have seen up here. I think you pretty much, other than maybe oat, oats have been mentioned, or you know that they could grow those, wheat, a little bit of wheat, not a lot, I don't think, but they did grow it. But corn, that's one thing I wish. It's too bad we don't have a living history farm, because that is something coming up here. It's hard to really understand. These fields all around us, they have been covered with corn. I mean, that's something to think about. Think about the corn that would have been, you know, all through here. You know, fields and fields of it. And that's their hard plowing.
Yeah, with the new.
It would have done that for sure.
Yeah.
We can't. I wish we could do that today. Problem is we couldn't maintain it. The corn would just rot. No way. We can't sell it. So it's too bad we can't have that up here, because it's a very you don't really get that perspective really of what it was like up here. Because obviously corn is everywhere. We can grow, the wheat does grow wild. I mean, we'll mow that from time to time. But so corn was their main source of income. Their second biggest source of income though came from livestock. And what do you think that would be?
Cattle.
Not cattle.
Pigs.
Not pigs.
Sheep.
Sheep. Good job. Sheep.
Oh, really?
Yep. So sheep, they had a lot of sheep. The sheep, like the hogs, were all over the place in the mountain. And they would bring them in to shear, you
So
know.
wool.
Wool was a major source, their second biggest source of income up here. They're making a lot of money off the wool. So, obviously you're gonna have sheep up here. What other livestock do you think, what other animals are living up here? Any other guesses? What other animals? Most of them we kind of already said. Mules.
Goats.
Goats. There have been a few goats. Horses.
You have to have dogs for
So,
a little bit of protection.
protection. That's what really dogs, chickens, yeah, definitely chickens, cows,
Yeah.
a few cows. But what, turkeys?
Donkey.
Donkeys? Maybe a few. But dogs, so dogs are more protected than kids.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not, so
Protect
that,
dogs.
for them, they're not really for pets. I mean, today, obviously a dog or a cat's going to be a companion, but that time, they're going to have a job. And the dogs are going to be protecting the kids. There probably were cats up here, they probably were in the barn, you know, eating myself. That's what they're really good at. Now in terms of like wild animals, how many deer do you think people saw up here? 20. Any other guesses? Sherman Hensley later said he only saw 2 deer up here the entire time he lived here.
Wow.
So deer were pretty much, I wouldn't say hunted to near extinction, but their numbers were definitely dwindled down by
We've seen three.
yeah, that's changed. So since the 1950s, deer have made a major comeback, and they're everywhere. People don't hunt like they used to, so there's that.
Today we're at Hensley Settlement doing the tour. So come along with us.